now, because I've been involved in Hollywood. I've been involved, with some of the elites trying to recruit me. It's the same deal. They go, the public aren't humans. You're a human. Get in with this. It'll advance your consciousness, but you've got to learn they're animals. You've got to learn to do bad things. And then you'll be strong. It's like in Revenge of the Sith. Palpatine says, go kill all the baby Jedis, and then only then you'll be powerful enough. That's what they actually teach. It's black magic. And it's everywhere. It goes on. It's happening, Paul.
No, every time they investigate ritual abuse of children, it always leads back to the elites. I made a 14-minute video on it. Note that the media never talked about that. They daren't touch it, but they'll bang on about Pizzagate all day. In that video, I documented all the examples, admitted court cases, people convicted in Portugal, France, Spain, United Kingdom, all these other countries where it's on the record. This is the quote where he sounds exactly like you. Quote, the people do underestimate the severity of this because this is an annihilating force that hates our guts. It hates creation, it hates life, and it will do anything to destroy us completely. And the way to do that is to divide humanity. Divide and conquer is their truth. So he's talking about the culprits behind this child abuse absolutely despise humanity. That's why they have no sympathy. They have no remorse. And that's how psychologically they can get away with it without going through the terror of all the remorse that any normal person would go through.
Let me read this quote again. This is one of the most important articles we've ever written. The people who do not underestimate the severity of this are but a few. Because this is an annihilating force that hates our guts. It hates creation. It hates life. And it will do nothing. It will do anything to destroy us completely. And the way to do this is to divide humanity. Divide and conquer is their truth, he added. Now, I butchered that, and it's so important, I'm going to read it again. The people who do not underestimate the severity of this are but few. Because this is an annihilating force that hates our guts, it hates creation, it hates life, and it will do anything to destroy us completely. And the way to do that is to divide humanity. Divide and conquer is their truth, he added. This is amazing. And we know this goes on. In fact, in the Netherlands, that's where they've caught the psychopaths with the whole dungeons full of kids to the elites, and it always gets shut down, Paul.
And remember Jimmy Savile over in the UK, a big children's entertainer, close links with the royal family and the elite for decades and decades. It was only after his death, despite the fact that people were talking about it back in the 70s, that his rampant pedophilia came out. And of course, he was involved, according to reports made by the victims, in child abuse satanic ceremonies. They didn't kill children in those ceremonies, but they tied them up, raped them, engaged in occult chants. He was surrounded by people who were more powerful than him in that ceremony. So we know they're into this. This is not a conspiracy theory. Every single major paedophile bust leads back to judges, top police officers, celebrities, politicians, people in academia. Every single time we've documented it, it's on the record, it's in the video embedded at the end of this article, which the media daren't touch, even though they attack you on everything else.
That's right, and that's why they're coming after us, is they know we've got their number. They were unable to recruit me and many others. Paul, I haven't really asked you this. I know you've been invited to a lot of elite parties and hung out with some of the most powerful people in the media, but have you had anybody try to get you into weird stuff yet?
No, there was some Scientology thing that they approached me, but that was years ago. It wasn't anything weird, but it was just Scientologists trying to recruit people. And people tell me that if you mess with Scientologists, then they definitely mess with you back. So I'm not getting involved in any of that. It's well known in London that all the rich Saudi Muslims come over and have gay orgies. That's an open secret. Not that I attend gay orgies, but I've heard it on the grapevine.
I was out to dinner once with a rock star, and there was a bunch of people there, and it was like one of the most famous record executives ever. It was like in major newspapers with like the most beautiful wife you could imagine. And then he's sitting there with this Saudi prince who's in normal American-sized clothes, and I don't think I'm very that good looking. You talk about a joke. And the guy goes, I got a jumbo jet, fly around the world with me, let's go have a good time. And I'm like, no. And then I'm walking out of the restaurant, and the rock star, they're like, hey, come to us with this hotel party. There's all these women. And I'm like, no, I'm married anyways. And like the rock star goes, yeah, I'm going to sleep. Do not go with them. I'm like, no kidding. But I mean, it is just totally rampant. But for these rich guys, it was just a joke. let's go see if we can have women lure Alex over here to, be part of some party. I was like, no thanks. But that's how quick this happens.
That's right. And it's completely all over Hollywood, too. During the research for this occult little investigative report we put together, we actually found...
It wasn't little, it was big.
Yeah, it was pretty big. Okay. James Franco, for example, helped produce a little mini film with Kenneth Anger, who's a big open occultist, Aleister Crowley follower. And so, I mean, we also saw the Maria Abramovic, who pals around with all these celebrities.
Spirit cooking.
Exactly. And we even have seen photo shoots with, one of those Kim Kardashian girls. I think it was Kendall Jenner doing a photo shoot in a Maria Abramovic style performance.
Look at all the Hollywood stuff and the Grammys and Emmys. It's just everywhere.
It is. And what they're doing in these performance arts, it's like Luciferian light. They're testing their willpower in the sense that...
They're conditioning people.
Can they lay there and let anyone do anything to them? Do they have the willpower? And to them, do what thou wilt is the law of the land. So that's why they do these grotesque rituals. They eat human feces. They drink urine.
It's about the exercise of raw power.
That's right. And to them, that's their strength. And that's why that guy was talking about training to be a psychopath. Because of them, if they can block out all sympathy, all human emotion, and just do anything.
And that's what the modern environmentalism is. Hate yourself. Al Gore and Bill Nye will save you. Don't have kids. Die. Commit suicide for the earth, for the elite. Kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself. It's inverting our life force and saying, we're not going to space. We're killing the space program. Notice Trump's bringing it back. That's why they hate Trump, because he's not a Satanist. Donald Trump, not a Satanist. Donald Trump doesn't want you poor and pathetic. I promise to take a few calls here, Paul. We're going to skip this break so we have more time. Let's go ahead and go to Michael in Texas. You're on the air worldwide. You held over an hour. You get a free T-shirt of your choice. John Harmon's got a lot of work to do, sending us your name and address and what you want. But every time I do that now, people get a free shirt from InfoWarsStore.com. Michael, go ahead.
It's Michelle.
Michelle, I'm sorry, I can't read the board.
It's okay. Hi, Alex. Hi, Millie. Hi, Paul. And hi, Wayne and Justin. My question is totally off topic. I read on today Trump's agenda that he was taking a phone call from Putin, and I wanted your thoughts on that.
Putin and Trump need to be meeting earlier, but they've so intimidated Trump administration to not meet with him. You're a Russian agent. He should trump that whole thing, Trump intended, pun intended, and just get it out in the open and say, so what? They're becoming more Americana than we are. We don't need war with Russia. We need to do trade deals with them. But the globalists don't want that. So that's my thought. Paul, Millie?
Well, Trump just recently met with China. It's called diplomacy.
Exactly. And the president leads one of the branches of the government that's supposed to meet with people. Paul Watson.
Well, Obama met with Medvedev, Hillary Clinton met Vladimir Putin. It doesn't mean he's conspiring with Russia if he talks to people. The thing that concerns me is this New York Times thing today about Ivanka Trump, where it says she's literally like reading and checking off on executive orders before they get passed. She's basically embedded herself deep in the administration, despite the fact she has no cabinet position.
It's like she's the vice president now.
Yeah, they're calling it Javanka. Jared Kushner, who, by the way, has now got business dealings with George Soros, it's just come out. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump now literally just crafting policy. We know Ivanka's a globalist. She's hanging around with Lagarde and Angela Merkel. She's pushing mass refugee programs that have destroyed societies in European countries or are in the process of doing so. That's concerning. Nobody voted for Ivanka Trump.
Or Javanka, for that matter, for Jared Kushner. And if you expand on that, his 666 building and the rest of it, and all the failures he's involved in, they talk about her West Wing agenda. And I mean, look at her right there. It's almost like she's got her dad under her control or something. This is weird.
Well, the thing that concerns me is that she has differing beliefs regarding climate change, regarding the whole green energy movement, whereas Trump ran on the fact that he was going to bring back the coal industry.
Exactly. And look, if his daughter wants to have those other views, that's her issue. But that's not who we voted for. Okay, thank you so much. Michelle, anything else?
Yeah, it also came to light that Jared Kushner did not disclose some business ties he had with Russia, and he needs to go now.
Russia and China, absolutely. Little Kushner needs to, sprout some wings and fly away like a happy little creature. Back to, I guess, prison where his daddy's at or everybody else. Let's talk to Eric in California. You're on the air, Eric. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Erica.
I can't get any names right today. My eyes are going out. Erica. What a beautiful name. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, and it is such an honor to be talking to you and everybody over there at InfoWars. I have to say, I'm so excited. I can't even believe I'm talking to you right now, and I just thank you guys so much and everybody there for the hard work that you guys are doing. You broke me out of the matrix. It's so clear what's going on to me now, and out here in Bakersfield, California, we're a very conservative town surrounded by liberals, and it's so hard to speak out. When I talk to people about things going on, like chemtrails, they look at me like I'm crazy. I don't even know who to talk to. I kind of feel alone out here sometimes, but for the most part, Bakersfield is very conservative.
Well, I'm glad you raised that, because I've been meaning for Rob to and others and myself to do it. I've never seen the lack of aerosol spraying and geoengineering since Trump got in. I mean, because it's been going on for almost 20 years. It's a secret geoengineering program. Part of it's public. Anybody can Google geoengineering, Council on Foreign Relations, geoengineering Bill Gates, geoengineering Energy Department. It's going on, manipulating our atmosphere with barium salts, aluminum dioxide, and stuff added to jet fuel, and also radioactive isotopes. What's amazing is that I've never seen this many blue skies since like 1992. On these days now in Texas, total blue skies since Trump got elected. And the question is, have they killed the geoengineering program that was Lord knows what? Keep going, ma'am. Then we'll get Paul Watson's take on that.
Okay, no, it's happening every day out here. Every day. You open my eyes to it. And when I first heard about it, I'm very observant. I have a degree in psychology. I'm a stay-at-home mom now of 2, and it kills me anymore. I can't even run outside. The air is so bad, and I want to shout from the top of my lungs to tell people, look up. Stop looking down at your phones. Look what's going on. But people are so complacent out here. It's happening every day, Alex, every single day. I don't even want to go outside running anymore. Thanks to your nutraceuticals, I mean, it's really helped me a lot. I bought iodine, vitamin B12, silver bullet, DNA Force toothpaste. I mean, I bought so many of your products that have really helped me out a lot, but people don't know what's going on. There's people coughing and sneezing and sick and flus and fever. And I want to tell people it's the chemtrails.
It is. Well, let me tell you, GMO is causing a lot of autoimmune shutdowns and problems. It's a cocktail. And then you add the geoengineering that later rains down thousands of miles away. And then you add the most important thing. China is totally dirty, the biggest industrial base ever, dirty plants, everything. Its jet stream rains down all over the United States. In fact, Texas, Louisiana, and the Mississippi are the worst. That's one reason I may have to leave Texas at least part of the time. It's not just allergies. The jet stream goes from like 30,000, 35,000 feet down to ground level in different areas of North America. And then so used to 100 years ago, there'd be a big volcano. People would have allergies, they call it the VOG, for a couple years from it, for thousands of miles away. Well, forget the VOG, like some people in Hawaii have when the volcano's going on the Big Island. They get it on islands away. This is global smog raining down. So it's not just the chemtrails, but if the crew will do this for new viewers, type in geoengineering or climate engineering CFR or Smithsonian. You'll get mainstream articles admitting they're doing it, but they call it testing. Paul Watson, your take on this. Thank you so much, Erica. Apologize for getting your name wrong.
She was talking about meeting people of like mind. You can do that in any area. Just get on the internet, arrange to meet in a bar, just go on a forum, start a Facebook page. It's easy. It's this atomized idea that we're all just individuals floating around cyberspace. There are other people in your area who believe the same thing, and it's so easy to meet up with them. Then you can form a group of friends. That turns into an activist movement in your local area, and you can actually have an effect on policy. It's so easy. There's no excuse to not be doing that kind of thing.
That's right. If people just search engine, CFR calls for geoengineering. Bill Gates involved in geoengineering. Bill Gates wants to control hurricanes. You'll get all the articles, Dubai controlling the weather, China controlling the weather, and they've got these antennas that with the aluminum dioxide, they're able to then create nuclei by projecting up into it. There you go. On the regulation of geoengineering, CFR. We have a 1979 global treaty on weather weapons. This is real, folks. Great point, Paul.
Yeah, well, maybe they're cloud seeding or putting these chemtrails in the atmosphere either to prevent the drought or cause the drought.
They admit it's a weather weapon. They're actually testing the weapons.
Exactly. So, or, who knows the health hazards.
They said they were trying to stop global warming, but the sun cooled off. But all the scientists say when they spray this, the UV goes under, can't bounce out, and it actually heats the earth. So they've been trying to heat the earth, but the sun cooled off, so it didn't work. Paul, why do you think they're trying to heat the earth?
I don't know if they're trying to heat the earth. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but as Millie said earlier, Ivanka's come in with this big global warming push. It's literally in direct opposition to what Trump's doing.
Well, I've talked to the geoengineers, and I've talked to the planetologists, basically. I've talked to the astrophysicists, and they say you put up these clouds, and even BBC says have made the Earth 21 times, 30 times percent darker, 21 to 30% darker, and that actually creates more heat on the planet's surface. Because then the radiation goes in and doesn't reflect back up. You understand? UV goes through, but then doesn't bounce back off. You understand what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I understand.
People have bought so much into this idea of some type of climate change or global warming or global cooling to where people living in the colder regions like Colorado say, look, see, it's snowing into March. It's global cooling, climate change. And then you have people in California where it's nice and warm and hot saying, hey, it's global warming. It's called weather, guys.
Exactly. And now they're calling it climate change. Paul, I'm going to take one more call and hand the baton to you. I'm sorry to all the folks that have been holding, but I'm going to go to Victor in a moment. Sorry for barging in on your hour today, but it's hard to get you to do the show. It was great having you here in Texas. Did you enjoy yourself? And then tell us what's coming up in the next half hour.
Well, Alex, I'm going to dip into a BuzzFeed article because I'm doing a video on it, but they've basically come out and said that, people are responding to this Dear White People Netflix series and saying, what would happen if they did a Dear Black People? So they focused in on this tweet which said, Dear Black people, I'm sorry for our history of oppression and genocide, as if that's what white people would say. There's such a fundamental historical misunderstanding of the history of slavery.
It's done on
Literally
purpose.
Every single race enslaved people. And in fact, it was white British people, Alex, that literally used to risk their lives and go and raid Arab slave owners in African countries and free black slaves in Africa. That was white British people.
But they don't care. They want to create white guilt, so we do whatever we're told.
Yeah. But every single race has had slaves. The very origin of the term comes from Slavs, who were enslaved, white people enslaved by Muslims in Spain.
And I love the message, dear white people, welcome to the revolution, with a bunch of people whose histories are even greater in slavery, running their mouths and then demonizing us for somebody's past crimes. That's like if your neighbor did something, you go to jail, your grandfather did something, you're a bad person. What the hell is this?
It's really bizarre. What? They want people to pay reparations when wasn't that kind of what the Civil War was? I mean, do you know how many people died, lost limbs and everything and fought to help free the slaves?
And again, they open wounds. All these liberal sites put white people in blackface and then simulate racism and stuff to open the wound and totally manipulate people. But then some of the minorities think, oh, they're being honored now. They're being brought forward and people care about them. No, it's the corporate weaponizers that want everybody divided and at each other's throats. Let's talk to Victor in Florida. Last caller I've got time to go to. I've already hogged Paul's time. Go ahead.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, my fellow warriors. I just wanted to first of all say, I know that there's a lot of the globalists out there listening, and, I just want them to know that their time is coming to an end, and, my lovely AR-15 here is ready for whatever is to come. I'm hoping for the best, obviously, as we all are. But as things are progressing, it seems like, we never know what's going to happen next. What's really crazy is as I was on hold, I was holding the longest, obviously, and everybody brought up a topic that I was actually going to touch up on. So I know for a fact that we are, this movement, this Patriot movement, it is a spiritual awakening and
that unifies us. I wanted to show a video of white people and black people saving other people together. That's what it's. We're all people. We've got to transcend this and come together. Beautiful testimony, Victor. Infowars.com. Spread that link. It's being censored. The enemy hate it. Great job, Millie. Paul Watson's coming up from London, England. Straight ahead on the other side. We have a 30-hour broadcast kicking off tomorrow. And we also need your support. Infowarsstore.com. Thank you all for making it possible. God bless you all.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
InfoWars has partnered with Defender Body Armor to bring you a new state-of-the-art line of advanced, highly tested body armor from InfoWarsStore.com. Defender Body Armor is certified to protect against all handgun rounds and even armor-piercing FN 5.7 pistol rounds. The secret to Defender Body Armor is its proprietary processing technology that disperses more kinetic energy at a rate higher than any other traditional body armor, using one of the strongest synthetic materials ever created, called ultra-high molecular weight polyethylene. Defender Armor is also super compact and lightweight. There's a reason the Department of Defense chose Defender to manufacture their new line of advanced lightweight armor. It works. Defender Body Armor is made right here in America and has received the highest level ballistic resistance certification from an authorized NIJ ballistic laboratory. Defender Body Armor is now available through InfoWarsStore.com, so you can defend yourself, your family, and finance the info war against the globalists all at the same time. A total 360 win. I'm going to lay it out short and sweet. I got so dedicated to fighting the globalists and their program for world government that I stopped working out. I was a total fitness nut 20 years ago. About 15 years ago, I just stopped working out. I gained close to 100 pounds. I have lost 50, 60 pounds of fat or more. I've gained 20 pounds of muscle. I'm stronger than I was when I was 22. When I could bench press close to 400 pounds and squat 600. It's actually scary. And it's because I take products that our researchers developed that block the estrogen mimickers that basically feminize men. We've produced these products with top scientists and researchers like Dr. Group to help you counteract the globalist onslaught and at the same time support InfoWars in our fight to promote human liberty and freedom. A clean, toxic-free body is the foundation of true health. Introducing Deep Cleanse by InfoWarsLife.com, a scientifically formulated blend of nanocolloidal zeolites and organic ingredients that aid the body in cleansing chemicals and toxic metals. Using our proprietary multi-step extraction technology, Deep Cleanse is our most affordable all-in-one cleanser with concentrated organic compounds like cilantro, milk thistle, fulvic acid, orange peel, zeolites, and others. Deep Cleanse doesn't hold back. Instead of buying 5, 6, or even 7 different cleansing products, we use decades-old scientific research to put together the Rolls-Royce of all-in-one cleansing. Look, there's a reason Deep Cleanse is the only product on the market that uses our proprietary Spigerex herbal processing technique. We use only the highest quality organic herbs backed by serious research, and we still bring it to you at the best price out there. If you wish to find Deep Cleanse and experience the all-in-one cleansing, visit InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Live from the Infowars.com studios, you're listening to The Alex Jones Show. And now, your host, Paul Joseph Watson.
And we are live. It's the 4th hour of The Alex Jones Show on this Tuesday edition. We're talking about a BuzzFeed article, and I'm going to do a video about this tonight. I'm going to be up till 2 a.m. once again. The headline is, people promptly responded with Dear Black People after Dear White People was dubbed a double standard. Now, of course, they're referring to the Netflix series Dear White People, which we've had articles before. I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to comment on that specifically. I don't know what's in it. I haven't watched it. This is what I am going to comment on. The fact that BuzzFeed is once again pushing divisive, race-baiting crap and casual anti-white racism, which we saw earlier in the story that Alex talked about with Affinity Magazine, which has a history of that. Now BuzzFeed is back at it once again. Why is this a concern? Because this has become cute, this has become the last acceptable form of racism, and it's actually emboldening real white supremacists. They actually look reasonable in comparison to the people spouting this nonsense. I mean, just to give you an example from literally 10 minutes ago, somebody sent me a tweet which said, quote, and this is somebody who attacked me on Twitter, "Good afternoon. Twitter is run by white liberals who sympathize with Nazis. Quote, I'm still pro-white genocide." This guy got 78 retweets and 303 likes for that tweet. This is a sentiment that dominates the left. The far left is obsessed with this. The more, quote, center left never disavows it. They legitimize it. This has to be spoken out against because it's actually emboldening race supremacists on both sides, which means you're going to get more violence, more racial tension, more riots, more murders. This is what's going to happen. So now BuzzFeed is on that train again. So basically someone reacted to this Netflix Dear White People show on Twitter with the following tweet. He said, quote, "Imagine if there was a show called Dear Black People." So again, it's this idea, imagine if you reverse the roles, if it was white people lecturing black people about their supposed infabilities or whatever. That's what the original tweet was about, and that's why BuzzFeed wrote this article about it. So then a guy on Twitter called Reggie, a black guy, responded with the tweet, quote, "Dear black people, I'm sorry your skin colour makes me see you as a threat." That was another tweet. And then he responded by basically saying, "I'm sorry for our history of oppression and genocide." So he's speaking as the white person, saying, "I'm sorry for our history of oppression and genocide." And he told BuzzFeed, the guy who made this tweet, quote, "I was trying to help them understand how the history of this country shaped racism to only go one way and that the double standard lacks historical context." So this guy is saying that if you complain about a show called Dear White People, your sentiment lacks historical context. Which is pretty ironic because the left has no idea whatsoever of the historical context of slavery. No idea whatsoever. So again, the word slave is derived from Slav, as in Slavic white people who were taken as slaves by Muslims in Spain during the 9th century. So the very origin of the term slave is derived from white people being enslaved by brown people. Okay? And again, every single race has enslaved members of another race throughout history. Every single race, or at least enslaved members of a different social caste. So you can't pin this all on white people, and to do so is not only incredibly historically inaccurate, it's completely racist. So again, the Barbary slave trade, I've talked about it over and over again, ran for about 200 years. 1.25 million white Christian Europeans abducted by Arab slave masters. 1.25 million white Christian Europeans abducted, and they were sold into slavery in North Africa. That's white people being enslaved by brown people once again. But I don't sit here and whine and bitch and moan about it and blame all Muslims who are living today for something that their ancestors did hundreds of years ago, which they have nothing to do with whatsoever, okay? I don't write whiny little BuzzFeed articles about it. I don't demand reparations from Muslims in the UK because their ancestors hundreds of years ago were involved in the slave trade. That's unfair. That's actually racist to collectivize people in that way. But that's what the left does. That's what BuzzFeed does over and over again. The Barbary slave trade was far more brutal than the transatlantic slave trade. That's not to say that transatlantic slaves, black people from Africa being brought to America, weren't treated badly. It was horrible. All slavery is horrible. But the Barbary slave trade was particularly brutal because they actually enslaved black people as well as white people and castrated young black boys so they couldn't have children. They literally amputated the scrotum of and penis of young black boys so they couldn't have children. Again, this is Arab slave traders doing this in the Middle East, in North African countries. The Barbary slave trade, okay? But again, I don't see BuzzFeed, I don't see this guy who made the original tweet, Reggie, bitching and whining about Arabs living today and saying that they're racist if they say something on Twitter. And again, you look at the history of slavery, white people were the first people in history legally to end slavery. William Wilberforce campaigned for the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833 in Great Britain. We were the first to end slavery in the world. White people, white British people, who also, by the way, literally risked their lives in the years after that act was passed to conduct raids on African countries like Zanzibar to free black slaves from their Arab captors. So not only were white people enslaved by Arabs, not only did white people pass the first laws to end slavery and free black slaves, but white people literally risked their lives to free black slaves from their Arab captors. This is called history, okay? BuzzFeed asks for historical context when people make these tweets. I'm giving you some historical context. You had the Civil War in America where hundreds of thousands of white Americans died partly to end slavery. And of course you have the situation today where 46 million people in the world today are enslaved, living under slavery. That is the most ever in human history. And where are they enslaved? In Germany, in America, in the UK? No, in Middle Eastern and African countries, not in any white countries. 46 million people. I don't see BuzzFeed bitching and whining about that. Do you? No, because they can't blame it on white people, because they can't be racist with it. So again, virtually every single racial group in history has been guilty of enslaving people from other racial groups or social castes. They all did it throughout history. That's not to say that it justifies any of it. It's all equally horrible. And it's good that Britain was the first to end it in 1833. It's bad that it still exists in many Middle Eastern countries. We had the video a few weeks ago of the maid in Kuwait, the black maid in Kuwait, who was literally hanging from a window. She was a slave. Reports she was trying to commit suicide. It still exists in many Middle Eastern and North African countries. 46 million people are enslaved. BuzzFeed doesn't give a damn about that. So this contemporary narrative that only white people are to blame for slavery, again, it's not only completely wrong historically, completely wrong, it's also racist because they're collectively trying to demonize white people today because of their skin color, blaming them for the sins of their ancestors, which they had nothing to do with. Okay? Arabs living today aren't to blame for what Arabs did 300 years ago. White people are not to blame for what white people did 300 years ago. Black people are not to blame for what black people did 300 years ago. That's collectivization. That's actually racist. So they say, oh, reverse racism doesn't exist. You have to have institutional power to be racist. So there's this whole, oh, black people can't be racist towards white people. Well, who has the institutional power? Who owns and runs the media? Who owns and runs the cultural institutions in the West? Well, of course, they're almost exclusively dominated and controlled by the left. They have the institutionalized power, and now they're using it to float this cute, trendy, anti-white racism, which is emboldening actual white supremacists. Now you're slowly beginning to see a growth in actual white supremacist groups, which in the past decade before that, 15 years, had been on the decline. I mean, the KKK is basically defunct, but now you're seeing all these new white supremacist groups crop up, and black supremacist groups, as in Black Lives Matter, the ideological guru of which is a convicted terrorist on the FBI's top 10 most wanted terrorist list, Asasa Shakur. She's a convicted cop killer. That's who Black Lives Matter supporters chant at their rallies, her name. They also walk down the street chanting, what do we want? Dead cops, when do we want it now? Xavier Johnson, the guy in Dallas who killed the Dallas cops, gunned them down in cold blood, did it because of, quote, Black Lives Matter, and because he hated white people. Okay? This mindset is causing death. It's causing riots. It's causing increased racial tension across the board. But it's being mainstreamed by the left. That's again the difference. I talk about it over and over. Not denying that there are far-right fringe extremists who are violent and have absolutely horrible beliefs. We had the guy in New York recently who travelled all the way to New York, the white supremacist, just to kill a black guy. Horrible individual, should be executed. That's an example of a far-right fringe extremist, should be disavowed and is disavowed. The left doesn't disavow any of this. They celebrate it. They embrace it. It's all over Twitter. People have sent out tweets where they switch the word white and black, literally calling for all white people to be killed. As I read a few minutes ago, somebody calling for white genocide. Those people don't get suspended. They don't get banned. That's cute. That's the acceptable face of modern racism. So again, the left legitimizes this. They embrace it. They never disavow it. And it's leading to more chaos. It's leading to more LA riots. They had a poll last week out of LA which showed more people in LA than at any time before believe that new riots are right around the corner, precisely because of all this race baiting. You have cities like Baltimore, where black-on-black murders are completely through the roof in the past 2-3 years since the start of Black Lives Matter, which doesn't give a damn about black people killing each other. So they've created this whole race narrative, the Ferguson effect. Police don't even want to go into these ghetto areas anymore because they're increasingly being targeted by these gang members and other criminals. So that leads to more shootings, more sense of lawlessness, more black-on-black murders. So since the start of Black Lives Matter, more black people are killing black people than at any time in years and years and years. That's the effect it's had. And it's all being bolstered by this anti-white racist narrative by the likes of BuzzFeed, by the likes of MTV News and others. And this is just the latest example of that. Again, blaming white people for slavery when every single race throughout history was involved in the slave trade. And in fact, white people were the first in the world to put an end to it. It still exists today, but not in any white countries. And BuzzFeed will never talk about that, will they? Absolutely incredible. Of course, we had Affinity magazine putting out this tweet, which Alex talked about earlier, white people aged like bananas. You can say, well, don't get triggered by that. It's just a lame joke. You go back through their history. Look at their other headlines. Straight white men are the root of our problems. Dear white people, your dictionary definition of racism is wrong. And dear white people, stop crying about reverse racism. It doesn't exist. That's right, it doesn't exist. It's just racism. And you're being racist. This is all over the left. They embrace it. It's a big problem. It's going to cause more violence. It's going to cause more riots. It's going to cause more racial tension. It has to stop right now. Now, speaking of that, we had the incident in Austin, Texas yesterday, the stabbing. This is out of Gateway Pundit. Kill frat boys, anarchists terrorize college with calls to make their lives hell. We flash back to this article from April 25th, because again, we're talking about the motive of this killer, which hasn't come out yet. They deleted all his social media presence within minutes. Could this have some kind of connection? In the past week, vandals have repeatedly defaced property at the prestigious University of Texas, Austin, spray painting a hammer and sickle symbol and words like rapist, racist, and kill frat boys on at least 4 fraternity houses. So that was going on just about a week before this stabbing attack took place. This article out of Gateway Pundit also reports University of Texas stabber reenacted white genocide. Oh, well, what do you know? He was radicalized by this anti-white agenda. Kendricks White was taken into custody after he went berserk with a machete on the campus of UT. Again, 1 dead, 3 injured. The 1 dead was a Trump supporter, according to some reports. But in 2012, before White was a student at UT Austin, he made a 14-minute poorly produced video at his home which shows Kendricks White and his classmates reenacting the murder of white people by Haitian political figure Dutty Boukman. The video is chilling and over the top with excessively violent moments. So years before this stabbing, about 5 years before, he's reenacting white genocide. in his own class with his classmates. The video entitled Haitian Revolution is a chilling precursor to the type of violence that White would act on later. The Haitian Revolution involved a specific targeting and killing of white women and children. Austin police still say they don't know his motivation, so it remains to be seen. We'll keep an eye on it. Daily Caller reports fraternity suspended for throwing a Mexican-themed party wearing sombreros. You can't do that anymore. That's racist. You can't not look people in the eye. That's racist. Can't eat Asian food. That's racist. Can't drink milk. That's racist. Can't do the OK sign. That's racist. You can't wear a sombrero. Many students and administrators at Baylor University are fiercely denouncing a campus fraternity. How dare they dress up? For throwing a Mexican-themed party over the weekend, which features sombreros and Mexican-related attire. All right, so I guess now you've got to ban cowboy hats, because if somebody who's not white wears a cowboy hat, they're culturally appropriating white people, and that's racist. Oh, but their own rules don't apply to themselves, so it's not. Okay, just whatever you do, if you're white, you're racist. Deal with it. Absolutely incredible, and again, another example of this narrative continuing to affect popular culture and modern discourse. It's going to lead to more riots. It's going to lead to more bloodshed. We'll be back with the final segment of the 4th hour of the Alex Jones Show live after the break. Don't go away.
Joe Biggs here with Infowars.com, and this is an email from Family Gino. I took down my Rebel flag, which you can't buy on eBay anymore, and peeled the NRA sticker off my rear car window. I disconnected my home alarm system and quit the candy-ass neighborhood watch. I bought 2 Pakistani flags and put one at each corner of the front yard. Then I purchased the black flag of ISIS, which you can buy on eBay, and ran it up the flagpole. Now the local police, sheriff, FBI, CIA, NSA, Homeland Security, and other agencies are all watching my house 24/7. I've never felt safer, and I'm saving $69.95 a month that ADT used to charge me. Plus, I bought burqas for my wife and I to wear when we shop or travel. Everyone moves out of the way, and security can't pat us down. If they say I'm a male wearing a burqa, I just say, I'm feeling like a woman today. Hot damn, safe at last. Ain't America great? You can find more reports like this at Infowars.com. This is Joe Biggs.
Our fellow InfoWars across the United States and across the planet really love the Hillary for President 2016 shirts that we began to put out in 2015. It became a global meme against globalism and corruption, and a very strong maxim that's now being continued on today. So we now have George Soros, because the media attacked me on this whole goblin meme, and they've made huge jokes about it, but it's totally blown up in their face. We now have George Soros as a goblin on the back, and it says with a cross through him, an X like Ghostbusters, no Soros, him as a goblin. It says deport Soros on the bottom, and on the top it says InfoWars established 1996. So it is a limited edition, deport Soros on the back, Hillary for President on the front, right-hand shoulder, Infowars.com. It's powerful. Hope you get out to everybody you know. InfoWarsStore.com, or call 888-253-3139.
Men, give your body the support it needs with InfoWars Life Prostagard. It's time to start assisting the body in regulating proper prostate balance. InfoWars Life has set out to bring you formulations that are not only the highest quality out there, but formulas that you can use on a daily basis to give your body the natural herbs and extracts that our experts recommend. The Prostagard formula does just that, with its mixture of plant-based nutrients and antioxidants that help give your body total support. It's a hand-selected blend of saw palmetto, lycopene, plant sterols, zinc, vitamin D3, selenium, and copper. Prostagard is something that the men on the InfoWars crew take every day. And from our research, it's something that men should really be adding to their daily regimen in order to keep their body going at optimal levels. Now's the time to start naturally supporting your body. Get Prostagard on your side today, exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
To put it carefully, most of these people followed not very mainstream religion. So, you have Catholics, Protestants, all sorts of religions. These people, most of them, were Luciferians. And then you can say, religion is a fairy tale. God doesn't exist. none of that is real. Well, for these people, it is truth and reality. And they served something immaterial, what they called Lucifer. And I also was in contact with those circles, only I laughed at it because to me they were just clients. So, I went to places called Churches of Satan.
So now we are talking about Satanism.
Yes. So, I visited these churches just as a visitor dropped by. And then they were doing their holy mass with naked women and liquor and stuff. And it just amused me. I didn't believe in any of this stuff and was far from convinced if any of this was real.
It was just a spectacle to you.
Yes, in my opinion, the darkness and evil is within the people themselves. I didn't make the connection yet. So I was a guest in those circles and it amused me greatly to see all those named women and the other things.
Omdat ik vond het allemaal wel leuk. Al die blote vrouwen en al die dingetjes die daar speelden.
It was the good life. But then at some point I was invited, which is why I'm telling you all this, to participate in sacrifices.
Offers. In het buitenland.
Abroad.
Dat was het breekpunt.
That was the breaking point.
Kinderen.
Children.
You were asked to do that?
Ik kon het niet.
Yes. And I couldn't do that.
En toen...
Would you like to stop for a moment, by the way?
No. And then I started to slowly break down. I lived through quite a lot as a child myself, and this really touched me deeply. Everything changed. But that is the world I found myself in. And then I started to refuse assignments within my job. I could no longer do it, which made me a threat. I was no longer capable of functioning optimally. My performance started to shake and I had refused tasks. I had not participated. The purpose of the whole thing, eventually, in that world, is that they have everybody in their pocket. You need to be susceptible to blackmail. And blackmailing me proved to be very hard if I look back on it. They wanted to do that through those children. And that broke me.
Is that you are not telling me something new, what they also do in politics?
If you Google this, you'll find enough worldwide witness accounts to know this isn't a Walt Disney fairy tale.
Walt Disney verhaaltjes.
Unfortunately, the truth is that worldwide they have been doing this for thousands of years.
Oh, InfoWars! That's pretty good. What else you got to say?
InfoWars!
Okay, cool.
InfoWars.
Anything else?
You too, you fascist!
Oh, yeah.
You fascist! You fascist!
Oh, wow.
You fascist!
This is the intelligence you get from these people. This is funny.
You fascist!
All right, and we're back. Final 30 seconds of the show. I want to remind you, go to InfoWarsStore.com. Get Conservatism is the new counterculture t-shirt. It's selling out fast. We're going to try and get more in stock, but it's selling like hotcakes. High quality premium t-shirt. Trigger a leftist today. InfoWarsStore.com. That's going to wrap it up, but stay tuned. InfoWars Live 3 to 5 coming up. Breaking news at InfoWars.com.
GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
Prepping
Prepping for disaster and societal unrest has now gone so mainstream that even Realtor.com is writing about it. But the realtors are still embarrassed to cover the subject and eager to set themselves apart from what they call Uncle Travis's guns and canned foods militia vision of preparedness. Well, the ants may have the last laugh on the grasshoppers, but the grasshoppers will still sing the tune if they can make money. But maybe you don't have a Hollywood mansion where you can drop another $1 million to turn your home theater into a radiation-proof bunker. There are still very effective, low-tech, low-cost things you can do to prepare. In fact, even realizing that there's a need to prepare and doing anything to act on that realization increases your chances of survival. Things that you do to prepare for an Armageddon scenario will help you to weather storms, to absorb an economic shock, or to protect you from home invasion. Prepare for the worst-case scenario while you educate yourself and others and work for the best-case scenario. Get more information at Infowars.com. I'm David Knight.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones.